Welcome to the Soul Health Mentor Podcast. I'm Nadia Kraus, author of From Dreaming to Done and founder of Soul Health Mentor and Company. Here we bring the human and the soul together. We talk about finishing the dream your soul has never let go of through embodiment, clarity, and wholeness, because we are souls having a human experience, not in exchange for, but in inclusion of. This is the Soul Health Mentor way.
Hello, strong heart, beautiful soul, and deeply human dreamer. Welcome to the Soul Health Mentor Podcast. My name is Nadia, and I am your host. You might be wondering if this podcast is for you, and I want to tell you that if you are interested in self-actualizing as the new manifesting, taking deep dives into psychology, human potential, and personal growth, then this podcast is most definitely for you. You might be wondering as well, why am I saying self-actualization is the new manifesting? And I've got to give you a bit of a backstory. Why do I say that? So I'm originally from Germany, and obviously, as my original mother tongue, the German language has a big influence on me. And in Germany, when we dream, when we talk about our dreams, when we talk about making our dreams come true and real in life so we can live them, there's the word Selbstverwirklichung. It gets used over and over again. Selbstverwirklichung und Lebenskünstler. Du bist ein echter Lebenskünstler, der sich selbst verwirklicht. What I just said is, you're a real artist of life who self-actualizes herself. So in the German language, it just means Selbstverwirklichung is self-realization. So you realize your potential, and instead of just realizing it inside of you and it just staying inside of you, you make that potential real and manifest as the artist of your life. So for me, self-realization includes my dreams, because often our dreams, those whispers, those dream sparks, they point us in the direction of our potential. So when we start listening to that dream spark and we step into that soul yes fully, and we step into that spiral step in to the development of ourselves and the dream, the development of the person who we have to become to manifest that dream, we're doing self-actualization as the new manifesting. And I want to talk to you about misalignment and alignment today. So misalignment and alignment can show up within the dream that we are chasing, because there's a lot of dreams we are sold, we are conditioned into believing that they are what we want. So society, starting in our upbringing, our original family, like our family of origin, then the school system, then maybe college, university, our job, the job we choose, all that is societal conditioning. And it is a system that exists. And sometimes we feel our potential, we feel our gifts, we feel our talents, we feel our skill set, and then we press it into this existing system. So we look for ways that our dream can exist within the system. And that partially works, yes. And I'm speaking from experience here. Mostly, I've experienced that I got to the point where the truest dream, the thing that I was truly born to live and self-actualize and do and create and manifest, didn't actually exist yet. It was unique to me. As a visionary leader, as a creative, as a soul-led entrepreneur, there was this vision coming through that didn't exist yet. So I had to step outside of those systems and create my potential. That's where a dream in the most authentic expression actually lives. It doesn't exist yet. And any artist, any creator, any soul-led entrepreneur with a vision, or someone stuck in a corporate job, that was me many times, feeling partially satisfied and rationalizing how their dream lives within the system. Oh, but I'm doing good. Oh, but I am using my gifts. Oh, but I am living my dream. That was me in many corporate jobs where, yes, that was true, but I also outgrew that system and that company and that environment very fast, usually within 1 year. So within 1 year, my heart and soul were tugging at me and were whispering the realization of highest self. Nadia, there's so much more than this. Your dream is so much more than this. So that's where misalignment starts. What started as alignment, where I went into an environment and I worked a job, and it did help me grow, and it did help me realize my potential and make it manifest in a position where I was recognized from peers, where I got a paycheck. My potential was translated into peer recognition and a paycheck. It also outgrew the environment very fast. And that's when alignment turned into misalignment. So my body felt it first. Then my mind felt it, but actually rationalized being there and staying there. My emotions were all over the place because it got harder and harder to stay within that environment. And then my heart was guiding me to truer emotions of living my potential, self-actualizing as the new manifesting, realizing that potential that lives within me, but also having to face the brutal truth that the environment I was in was becoming a cage. And then my heart and soul, my soul purpose, my soul map, the thing I was born to do and live and create became the stronger why, the stronger dream spark, the stronger soul yes. And those two, the soul yes and the dream spark, they were so strong that they gave me the courage to step into the spiral of the dream, step back into alignment, out of misalignment, and into alignment to trailblaze my own path. And I know it takes courage. I know this is not an easy step. However, I also know that I was born with intrinsic power and courage and connection to my potential. I was born with that drive to self-actualize and manifest my dreams. So the why becomes stronger than the fear. And the biggest fear that I could feel very, very early on in life, as early as 24 years young. I'm 51 now. So I've lived with this fear that is stronger than staying in a place. Let me tell you the fear first. So the fear really is something that I couldn't express in words. I just felt it as this internal pressure, 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 pressure. And that internal pressure of like, I cannot let this potential not be self-expressed. I need to express this potential. I actually learned the words at 49, 50 when visiting a speaking engagement. So I was watching speakers learn, It was the Amplifying Speakers Summit in Ottawa. And I listened to a speaker that was speaking about living an authentic life. Now, I know living an authentic life, that doesn't mean something to everybody. Like authentic is not really defined. Like, what does authentic mean? But what I think was really, really great in that speech was the speaker sharing the number one regret of the dying. The number one regret of the dying is, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the expectations of others. So that is a regret when you're dying, right? For me, it was, I cannot live with the idea of dying with a dream inside of me. That was the pressure I was feeling. So I found the words, don't die with a dream still living inside you, because I heard of the number one regret of the dying. So that was what gave me the courage to do things that many people think of as unthinkable. And I understand, and I do have compassion. That's why I do speak of us as deeply human dreamers. I understand that fear and responsibility and obligation to a life that isn't ours will hold us back. And not every one of us has been given the tools or the vision or the stronger why to break through. So I do have compassion for that. And I stand for the messiness of our humanness. I stand for the messiness of fear and doing it anyway. So feeling the fear in the body, in the mind, in the emotions, I get that. And still having a stronger why, our heart and soul, the potential that lives inside of us, our heart and soul really calling us to self-actualize our potential, to realize our potential, to live it and to make it manifest. And the beautiful thing is that when we step out of the misalignment, the human misalignment, the human condition of messiness, of misalignment in body, mind, heart, soul, and purpose, because the body is telling us one thing, the mind is telling us another, our emotions are telling us yet another thing, and then our soul and our heart are really trying to reach us with the potential that wants to be lived. Can you see how messy that is? That's why I say deeply human. And with bold compassion, I realize the messiness, and I still call you forward into your potential. Self-actualizing as the new manifesting. So the origin really is from my German roots and the words Selbstverwirklichung and Lebenskünstler, which is life's artist. A life's artist listens to that potential and may have many incarnations of their potential in one life. And that might look like job hopping. That might look like I'm going to do this, I'm going to travel. And in Germany, I did that. And I was criticized for it. So let's get back to misalignment and alignment. It is something that is not necessarily easy. It's not necessarily easy to go from misalignment into alignment. It does take time. It potentially does take support. I know that when I discovered my potential, I most definitely needed support with misalignment. I needed to understand, why does this feel so bad? Like, why does this feel so painful? And what does alignment actually look like? So the first thing that I want you to understand is that you are a system. As a human, You literally have an operating system. It is the body, the mind, the heart, the emotions, the purpose, and the soul. Now, I want you to imagine a coherent operating system. So the body is calm, the body feels safe, the body feels nurtured, nourished, and supported. That is a system within itself. That means the body has nutrients, the body gets exercise, the body gets relaxation, the body gets times out, vacation, the body has restful sleep. And can you see how that's a system within itself that is challenging? And that is a system that the wellness and fitness industry tries to address. But it's just one part of the grander potential. Now, let's go from the body to the mind. When you're trying to establish a fitness and wellness routine, you will see that there is mental patterns and belief systems that hold you back, that tell you, oh, I'm so tired after a day's work. I don't have the energy to exercise. Oh, I've tried this so many times. Why bother? This is not going to work. Oh, this is just what is in our family mother line, father line. I can't change it. This is just my DNA. And right there, you've faced limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs live in your mind. So in your mind, you have limiting beliefs, and your mind is a system in and of itself. So the mind houses monkey mind. I like to call monkey mind. That's all that chatter that goes on all day long. Those are your belief systems that actually start in childhood with your family of origin, and they start there, and then they actually become an unconscious belief system. So you have the unconscious, the conscious, and the higher mind. So all of that lives within that system. And that gets really messy and noisy. How do you differentiate between the unconscious thoughts and the unconscious architecture? You don't know what you don't know, and you can't see what you can't see. Like, how do you get to that, which the subconscious actually forms your conscious thoughts? And then you have the higher thoughts come in. They actually come from soul and heart, and they are fighting each other. So you can see how misalignment, alignment, they're like fighting each other. So now that's a system within itself. And that's not coherent. So we have a body that's not coherent. We have a mind that's not coherent and fighting. We have a body that's fighting. And now we have the emotions that come from that body mind system, that fighting in the body, that fighting in the mind. And you can see and tell it becomes really, really messy. So now the message of your emotions, if you can take it from mess to message, then you're going to start doing the work that gets you from misalignment to alignment, but it's a process. So, what is the message of this messy emotion? And here we're not taught to deal with fear, with doubt, with shame, with guilt, with all the hard feeling, with feeling lost, with despair, like all those negative feelings, we're not taught to navigate those. And it is wonderful that manifesting became mainstream through the documentary The Secret. And it is wonderful that we have connected to the potential of our dreams, to potentially seeing more for ourselves, for our life, and being told to think positive and to only think what we want. That's all fine and dandy. But what is not recognized in that theory, in that strategy, in that concept, is that there's a whole invisible world and invisible thresholds, invisible architecture in our human operating system that makes it near impossible to manifest what we want. Because we can think positive all day long when there is these subconscious belief systems of, I am not worthy, I am bad, I am guilty, I am shameful. When all of that lives inside of us, how are we going to self-actualize the dream that is us worthy and earning what we want to earn, is us valuable and giving back and feeling that value in ourselves and our work when we're feeling shameful and guilty and like we're worthless? You can see how there's a fight right there. So the emotions, they seem like a fight. Yes, they do. If you start addressing those and you start taking on a mindset of, okay, what is this mess trying to show me, teach me? What is the message in the mess? Then you're starting to align with your heart and soul. Then you're starting to align with your empowerment work, with your healing work. And when I first started this podcast, Soul Health Mentor, my tagline was out of your mind and into your heart. And I started this podcast when I wrote my first book, The Magic of Transformation. And the subtitle of that book is Igniting and Manifesting Soul Desires. And at the time, I was talking a lot about that kind of work. I was talking a lot about shadow work, a lot about healing and empowerment work, a lot about the deep dive into the underworld. So if you scroll on the podcast and you scroll to the earlier episodes, you will find a lot there. So you will find a lot in the archive. When I wrote the second solo book, From Dreaming to Done, A Soul Map for Finishing What You Were Born to Do, I had walked through the awakening of my soul's dream. I had walked through the dream spark and soul. Yes, I fully stepped into the spiral and the preservation chamber where you preserve the dream when it gets messy. So when you see the mess that is your system and what is the message, and then I did the work and I made it through. And when you're in the preservation chamber, then you're asked for alignment over and over again. So it's alignment, realignment, alignment, realignment, recognizing misalignment. That's where you need to really have that self-reflection and the tools to know. And the tool that I offer within Soul Health Mentor and Company is the Soul Map Initiation. The Soul Map Initiation becomes your soul compass that shows you alignment and misalignment over and over again, and you get to practice. You get to practice that in the preservation chamber, in the alignment check-in, in the expression gate. The expression gate is often expressing your dream to the outside world and setting boundaries so that you're preserving the dream. And then the preservation chamber, alignment check-in, and expression gate, lather, rinse, repeat, until it becomes integration done. And when it becomes integration done, then you have formed a new identity. And the new identity has worked through the feelings of not worthy, of not enough, of shameful, of guilty. You've taken the deep dive into the underworld. And you have healed and empowered. And now you have become the person that finishes. You now have a new identity. Above all, you choose to become the heroine of your life, not the victim. You've done that over and over with courage because your potential was calling you, because you did not want to die with a dream still living inside you. So misalignment and alignment is never about the challenge you're facing. The challenge you're facing is just the mirror of the alignment and misalignment. So when I faced an environment that I had outgrown really quickly, that became the challenge. Showing up within that environment became harder and harder and harder, and to the point of painful. And then my body would show symptoms, and my mind would show symptoms. My emotions would show symptoms. And I say symptoms because the root cause is not my system. I'm not broken. I'm not wrong. I'm not a mess. The body and my operating system became the lived experience of the mirror, the thing I was seeing every day and having to face. So it took immense courage to be radically honest with myself and say, oh my goodness, this environment is no longer aligned with my potential. I have outgrown this. I've outgrown this. And I'm ready for the next thing. And that has happened over and over in my life. And I've had many jobs. I've lived in 4 countries. I've lived in South Africa. So my life has looked like this: South Africa, Germany, South Africa, United States, and now Canada. And I've been self-employed and employed, self-employed and employed. I've built 4 businesses, 3 in Germany, 1 in the United States, and now I'm building the 5th business in Canada. So I've lived the soul map spiral over and over again. I've lived from dreaming to done over and over again, which from dreaming to done is the process of self-actualizing. It's the process of realizing your potential and making manifest the potential of your dream as lived reality. I've experienced alignment and misalignment, and I've done the work. I've discovered the tools that are necessary to do this work as deeply human dreamer. My podcast is for you to remind you of this work, and there are different things you can do. You can listen, you can go through the archive of the podcast and listen to different episodes. I've had authors on this podcast as well. You might find the perfect book for you that helps you realize the next level of your potential, that helps you grow and develop as a human, grow yourself and develop yourself as a human. I've written The Magic of Transformation, Igniting and Manifesting Your Soul Desire. That's the awakening phase of your dream. I have written From Dreaming to Done, a soul map for finishing what you were born to do. That book gives you the map of your dream. And if you follow that map consistently, you become the person that can live and hold the dream, which means you become it and then you manifest it. Self-actualizing is the new manifesting. And I'm currently working on book number 3, which is about the relational dynamics that can either move you forward and support your dream or can hold you back. Even in relational dynamics, there's alignment and misalignment. So the companion book is The No Drama Path to Living What You Were Born to Do. Thank you so much for being here today. And it has been an honor to share this with you. You have so many resources you can check out now. If you want to enter Soul Health Mentor and Company more deeply, Google Soul Health Mentor on Linktree, and you will find all the different doors of Soul Health Mentor and Company world. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you for being here. If something in this conversation stirred your body, whispered to your heart, or woke up a dream you've been carrying, that's not random, that's resonance. If you want to walk this path with me and join a community of grounded visionaries learning to finish what their soul began, download your soul map gift by visiting soulhealthmentor.com and clicking on the book icon. And if you loved this episode, share it with someone whose dream deserves to be finished, or write a review of your experience on Apple Podcasts or Amazon Music. Here we root and rise together, one completed dream at a time.